This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on August 25th, 2016. Our time is 8:44 Mountain. Our radio show runs 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, Sunday afternoon at 3. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived. Harold has two websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The shows are there streaming for you to listen at your convenience anytime. We have a podcast as well through iTunes. Type in The World Financial Report on Radio. We go on your portable device in podcast form. We're also on TuneIn, and we have our own YouTube page as well. As we start today's show, we're taping on a Thursday. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. The Kansas City Fed's annual symposium in Jackson Hole, Wyoming kicks off today. For the markets, the big event is Friday when Fed Chairman Janet Yellen delivers an address titled The Federal Reserve's Monetary Policy Toolkit, with every word likely to be examined for hints as to the central bank's rate path for the rest of the year. Currently, odds of a rate rise by the end of the year, as implied by the futures market, stands at 53%, meaning investors see it as an effectively coin flip at this point. But we will let you know next week exactly what Janet Yellen had to say. I know that Fisher, the vice chairman, came out and was hinting when he was going to speak that they were leaning towards raising rates in the United States. If that's the case, you could definitely see the Canadian dollar go down, the U.S. dollar go up. One of the things that I thought was very telling, Harold, this week, and you can find it in our free weekly newsletter. You can get our newsletter from Harold. Connect with him at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. In Germany, they're going to tell people to stockpile food and water in case of attacks. For the first time since the end of the Cold War, the German government plans to tell citizens to stockpile food and water in case of an attack or catastrophe. And they're talking about the population will be obliged to hold an individual supply of food for 10 days. And it's called the Concept for Civil Defense. Obviously, very telling, the times that we live in. Our featured diamond of the week from rarecoloreddiamonds.com is a stunning 2.63 carat, round, brilliant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless ring. It's a beauty. You can see it online at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week. We'll talk about diamonds more in the second half of the show. And one of the stories we have in our newsletter this week, Bill Gates, he is now worth $90 billion, Harold. It wasn't too long ago he was a pauper, only worth about 45 or 50 billion, and now he's worth $90 billion. It's amazing when the snowball starts to run. When you have that kind of wealth, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he could be at some point, not too in the distant future, worth $150 to $200 billion. It's an astounding number, to say the least.
Certainly is. And I'll tell you something, he is not your typical billionaire because he's donating most of his money away.
That's right.
He's not keeping the money. He's not handing it down to the kids and that type of thing. He's donating it. He's got some of the most phenomenal charitable events and charities that he runs, obviously, and it's not only him. Warren Buffett is doing the same, and he's actually gotten a lot of billionaires to band together to try to donate, billions and billions of dollars, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, just a top-notch guy, and he deserves his success, and he certainly has changed the world, and he's going to continue to do so. So that's a wonderful thing. This was an interesting week. The markets were a bit volatile. Gold came down quite a bit this week. In actual fact, it's sitting at a 4-month low. It's down another $3 as we're taping the show here on Thursday. So we're trading right now at a low of 1317.50. It wasn't that long ago the gold was all the way up at 1360 to 1380. So we've come down a bit. There's talks before the end of the year of the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. And if that does happen, just watch the U.S. dollar skyrocket and watch gold fall off short term. Again, I'm talking about short-term movements in the gold market at this point, because we are going to see a massive run-up in the price of gold. I just think at this particular point, with that huge short position in the market and the fact that the U.S. dollar is strengthening, that we're going to see gold back off slightly, maybe down to about the 1,100, 1,050 level in that area. But again, over the intermediate to longer term, I see gold skyrocketing. We saw a 30% increase in the price of gold from the beginning of the year. So gold certainly has shown what it's capable of doing. But again, what's also shown is the fact that the banks, the commercial banks, can do things that other people in the market cannot do, and that is buy massive positions in the market. In fact, the commercial banks hold the largest short position ever in history. Now, for everybody else that trades in the commodity markets, there are limits to how many contracts that you can buy. In the futures market, depending on the commodity that you're trading, and this goes all the way back to the Hunt brothers back in the late 70s, early 80s, when they really controlled the silver market, and they had such massive positions that the Commodity Futures Trading Commission literally put a limit as to how many contracts a speculator could hold in the futures market. But evidently, those rules don't apply to these commercial banks, because the commercial banks are actually shorting more gold than exists in the world today, and the same for silver. There's a lot of skullduggery going on in that market. If it's J.P. Morgan, that's the major central bank that's doing this, I mean the major commercial bank that's doing it, which I believe they are, what they've been doing, number one, the amount of positions that they're controlling is illegal, but again, the government lets them do that. On top of that, every time they short the silver market, like they're heavily short right now, they push everybody out of the market. They drop the market down so low and so fast that they scare out all the traders, and what they end up doing is scooping up all the silver. Word is that J.P. Morgan holds the largest physical silver position in the world. Now, why would they do that? Why in the world do they continue to short the market and short the market? And for those that don't know what short the market means, in the futures market, where primarily commodities are traded, and let's talk about gold at this particular point in silver, the fact is that if you're a speculator and you're betting that the price of gold is going to go up, you go long the market. And if the market goes up, you make a profit. But if you are short the market, you're betting that the market's going to go down. And that's exactly what the commercial banks are doing at this point. Why would the commercial banks bet that the silver and gold market are going to drop when fundamentally there's so many things happening out there with Brexit and everything happening in Europe and all over the world and ISIS and all? Why in the world would the market in gold rally 30% from the beginning of the year, which is a massive move? There's no other market around right now that has moved 30% this year. So why in the world would gold go up 30%, but these banks hold such a massive short position? Because what they're going to do is they're going to drop the market down. When you least expect it, when the market is very thinly traded and nobody's around paying attention on a holiday weekend or that type of thing, we're going to wake up in the morning and find gold down $80 to $100. That's the way they've done it in the past. That's the way that they're going to do it again. Again, these are short-term situations for traders. We're not traders of gold. We're buyers and holders of gold and silver, because we believe over the longer term, there's going to be massive changes in the world economy. One of the biggest changes could come in the United States in November, obviously with this unbelievable election coming up. For anybody that has friends in the States or is talking to anybody in the U.S. about the elections, it's like a carnival act. I've never seen in my life anything like these two candidates. It's a joke. The U.S. looks ridiculous for these two candidates, but things are moving forward, and that's the way it's going to be in November. It's going to be a very, very volatile time in the market, depending on who's going to get in. So, again, we'll certainly keep you updated as to what our feelings are on that. But my feeling is that we're going to see a short-term move on the downside in gold, and then we're going to see this market rally again. On top of that, I do believe that we're actually going to see a rally in gold, and I do believe that the U.S. dollar is going to stay the strongest currency, and that's extremely important. Most of my clients are, especially my Canadian clients, are situated right now in U.S. dollar-based investments and doing tremendously well. The U.S. is the only country in the world right now that has the capabilities of raising interest rates. Everybody else is dropping interest rates. So bottom line is that the U.S. dollar will be the strongest currency in the world, and all other currencies will fall. And as the U.S. continues to raise and raise and raise interest rates, as they will over time, especially if there's inflation, that will strengthen the U.S. dollar. Again, my clients are sitting in U.S. dollar-based investments that are making over 25% a year, plus what the currency is making. So if you want to learn about that, please give me a call, and I'll explain what we're doing. We're in the alternative asset business. We don't trade stocks or bonds or things like that. We trade in alternative assets, the type of assets that our clients can profit from. In many cases, we allow our clients to partner up with us on deals. And again, as badly as things are doing in Canada right now, my clients tend to be bucking that trend and doing very well at this point. One other thing that did happen this week that you need to be concerned about is a bill that was passed, and it was brought to my attention by one of my Canadian clients, that brought us up to date on a new bill that was signed this week called Bill C-15. Now, I'm still studying it, and I'll give you more input because C-15 encumbers more than what I'm going to talk about right now, but it's frightening. And in actual fact, the article that I have, and if you would like it, please contact me and I will send it to you. It's imperative that you understand what's going on. Randy and I have been talking about when banks get in trouble, what happens with bail-ins and bailouts. And back in 2008 and 2009, we saw basically billions, if not trillions of dollars go back into the banks in the form of bailouts, that the government put money into these banks to get them solvent again. But that was in 2008 and 2009. Times are different, and listen to this. Trudeau's bail-in law to allow banks to confiscate your deposits. This article was written on August the 21st, 2016, so it was this week. On June 22nd, 2016, Bill C-15 became law along with this controversial bail-in regime. In the crash of 2008, governments bailed out banks with billions of dollars. The next time around, banks will be permitted to seize your deposits. Listen to this. The next time around, banks will be able to seize your deposits and exchange them for shares in a failed bank. Some say the Canadian banks are so strong, Canadians don't have to worry, but experts say Canada is in serious trouble. DBRS, Moody's, and Standard & Poor's all have downgraded Canadian banks to a negative outlook. The Bank of Canada says our housing market is 30% overvalued. Deutsche Bank says 63%, and CMHC says 35%. With average house prices now over $1.3 million in Toronto and Vancouver, a crash appears to be imminent. The Canadian banks have over $1 trillion invested in residential mortgages. If values come down, banks could easily find themselves underwater, at which time they will be permitted to take your hard-earned deposits to pay their debts. Deposits under $100,000 appear to be covered by CDIC insurance, but anything else above, personal or business, will be fair game for the bail-in. How crazy is that? We've warned you about this. We talked about it for years, and now it's going to happen in Canada. So it's obvious at this particular point. If the banks are in trouble, if the real estate markets comes crashing down, and there have been laws and situations put into place in Canada over this last month that basically is going to tax or charge foreign investors, which is why, Canada's real estate market is so strong in the first place because, of the Canadian dollar being so weak, and China and Asians and Europeans coming over with stronger currencies and buying up all of our prized real estate. This is all going to blow up in our face. This is such a serious situation that you really need to get in touch with me. Number one, so I can get this article to you. Number two, so we can discuss and I can let you know exactly what you need to do in order to make certain that you don't have more than $100,000 sitting in your bank account. Because anything over that, they can just take, and they will. It happened in Cyprus. It's happened in parts of Europe. It's going to happen in Canada and the United States. And again, My clients are sitting in totally different type of situations. So please, again, things are getting very frightening in the marketplace, especially in Canada with low oil prices and their currency and everything. And I'm not bad-mouthing Canada in any way. I'm the proudest person in the world to be Canadian. But the fact is the facts are the facts, and we're in big, big trouble. And the C-15 law could wreak havoc on you. So you need to contact me next week, and we need to discuss what your situation is so you don't fall into a situation to where you're going to lose all your money. Randy, I'm just absolutely shocked that this happened this week, but there's more to the C-15 bill. We'll do more research on it and get back to you on next week's show and let you know everything that we found out.
We've been warning people for quite some time on our radio show about the bail-in legislation, and we've said that it's coming to Canada. It was in documents, and now that bill is in place. And as Harold said, we will do more research. Connect with Harold. If you have any questions about how bail-ins would work in Canada, let him explain it to you. 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is his website, RareColoredDiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a stunning 2.63 carat, round, brilliant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless ring. It's a beauty. See it online, RareColoredDiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week. We'll talk about diamonds in the second half of the show. One thing we've talked about for quite some time beyond bail-ins is negative interest rates. And obviously, if you're in a position where you're getting a negative interest rate, which really is the case here in Canada, because the Bank of Canada, we were at 1%, they lowered rates to 0.5 point. And if you're sitting in a GIC, a one-year GIC, you factor in taxes, you factor in inflation, you're losing money. You're in a negative situation. It's happening all around the world. Now, last week, we talked about a German bank. A German bank was charging customers to hold deposits. Imagine paying 100,000 euros into your checking account, only to rack up negative interest rate charges of 400 euros a year. Now, that is a fee of 0.4% on deposits of more than 100,000 euros held in current accounts. Now, this has already spread within a very short period of time. Within the week, we now have stories that the Royal Bank of Scotland is following suit, and the Bank of Ireland, they are following suit. And this all comes down to the fact that interest rates are negative in Europe, so banks are passing along to customers that, and as a result, you are paying to hold money in a bank account. Now, Harold has said for quite some time, you don't need to do this. There are investment programs in place where you can start making money today. And if you would like to find out more and obviously get some money into U.S. dollars, as we believe the U.S. dollar will strengthen considerably in the years to come, and obviously the Canadian dollar, even if it stays static or goes down, you want to have some money in the U.S. dollar. Find out more about the programs Harold has in place. 1-800-432-1022, RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. There is a report put out by S&P. Savers hit by negative rates are starting to store their cash in safes. And we talked about that before. Over in Japan, there was a run on safes, people buying them to put money into them at home and be basically their own banker because of negative rates. Nearly 500 million people are living in countries with negative interest rates, according to S&P Global, a factor which could fuel a return to a cash-only society, which is very ironic considering they want to move us to a cashless society. Negative interest rates are designed to get money flowing into an economy. In theory, the rate set by a central bank discourages savers from holding on to their money because of the negative return and encourages banks to lend. Central banks in Japan, Eurozone, and several other European countries have introduced negative interest rates, helping push the global stock of sub-zero yielding sovereign debt They have in the story here 11 trillion. Now it's actually 14 trillion. But rather than spend more, negative rates may force consumers to look to hold cash outside of the official banking sector. In Japan, we've got anecdotes that safes are actually being purchased for the storage of cash. We had a story about that in the past, as I mentioned. Much more so because in Japan, there's a high propensity of the net households having a greater degree of savings, and so instead of putting in a bank deposit, they're keeping it under the mattress or basically in a safe. That according to S&P Global Ratings, they told CNBC in London on Friday. Media reports suggest sales of mini vaults to Japanese customers have risen since the Bank of Japan introduced negative rates earlier this year. As well, S&P has come out with a report about negative interest rates and how it will impact banks in Europe. And there are some serious concerns that their profitability will be dramatically reduced as a result of negative interest rates. And the same could be said for insurance companies or pension funds that have a mandate to make a certain level of profit so the pension funds can say solvent. Harold, we have about 2 minutes left. You take a look at what's happening in the world today, and it's literally astounding. Negative interest rates. How do you make money on your pension? You're putting money in a bank and you're paying them. It's literally astounding. But you have programs in place where people can start making money today, and that's why we encourage them to call you, 1-800-432-1022, because you don't need to be in a position where you're sitting in negative bank accounts.
Randy, it's the most foolish thing I've ever heard, and I can't understand why the banks feel that this is the right thing to do, because again, the amount of deposits that will leave those banks are astronomical. So here you've now got negative interest rates with the bank, meaning that you're going to pay your money to keep your money in that bank, but if the bank fails, they can keep your money. Who in the I mean, this is like a bad joke. Who in the world would keep their money in a bank? It's a ridiculous thing. The banks are all going to go under. There's so many changes coming in the world financial markets that if you're not on top of it, you're going to find yourself at a tremendous loss. Again, I understand most of these things, and we have a game plan type of thing, so please give me a call, and let's talk about this, and let's figure out what's best for our clients on an individual basis, because everybody's situation is different. But again, between bail-ins where the bank can steal your money, and then on top of that, charge you to keep it's an unbelievable situation that is extremely dangerous for most small investors that don't understand what's coming their way, which is another reason why your retirement savings plans are basically worthless and will not make you any money. So give me a call. Let's talk about what we need to move forward. We have some plans in place that our clients are doing extremely well with.
Speak with Harold personally, privately. The call is free. Anything discussed, 100% confidential, 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on August 25th, 2016. Our time is 9/11 Mountain. Our radio show runs every Sunday afternoon on 6:30 CHED in Edmonton. Radio show, if you miss it, archived on Harold's two websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast on iTunes. Type in the World Financial Report on Radio. Also, we're on TuneIn, and we have our own YouTube page. Lots of different platforms for you to listen to our radio show. RareColoredDiamonds.com is Harold's website. The telephone number to connect with him personally and privately, 1-800-432-1022. Our featured diamond of the week is a stunning 2.63 carat round, brilliant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless ring. It is gorgeous. Go see it. Featured diamond of the week, RareColoredDiamonds.com. And it was interesting to note that Mark Steines, and you may remember him from Entertainment Tonight. He's on another program in the United States called Home and Family. He was married to Julie Freiermuth, and when they got married, they actually picked out a very special ring. The ring, gold, platinum, and fancy yellow diamond. And it was from Neil Lane, the archival collection. Supposedly it was close to 100 years old, but they wanted a special ring, and they went out and they got what we consider obviously very similar to our featured diamond of the week, a beautiful, beautiful, fancy yellow, internally flawless diamond. And obviously, if you're in a position where you're looking to maybe pop the question, give a diamond as a gift, Harold, the diamond that we have featured this week is absolutely gorgeous.
It certainly is. And the fact is that diamonds are not only beautiful, but diamonds are fantastic investments. Now, when I say diamonds, not all diamonds are great investments. In fact, most aren't. In our business, we deal primarily in amazing colored diamonds. Blues, pinks, greens, orange, yellow, red, some of the rarest diamonds in the world. And these diamonds are spectacular. These are diamonds that never lose their value. So in any investment, the first and foremost is to make certain that when you make an investment, that you're investing in the right investment where your principal is secure. Means that you're not going to lose your money. So that's the first and foremost, is capital preservation, making certain that you buy the right asset for investment purposes that's going to hold its value and not drop in value as soon as you bought it. And the other thing about it afterwards is when you get into a safe investment is the potential for that investment to make money. And these are two major factors that you have in colored diamonds. The featured diamond this week is so ridiculously rare that the chances of finding a diamond like this is extremely slim to none. Yellow diamonds are very popular, but the type of diamonds that we offer are of a totally different level. For example, just looking at this particular diamond ring, the fact is that the carat weight, 2.63 carats, means that it's a very large diamond. 95% of diamonds are under a carat. In the case of pink diamonds, they're under a quarter carat. So only one diamond in 15 million is over 2 carats. And this one's a 2.63, so it's extremely rare. The other thing about this particular diamond is the cut of it. It's a round brilliant, one of the rarest cuts in the world. Very seldom will you ever see a colored diamond that is cut in a round. And the reason for that is that unless it's going to be a perfect diamond, there's too much wastage. So the fact is, a cutter would much rather cut a radiant cut, which is a square cut diamond, or a cushion cut, than cut a round, unless it's going to be a very special diamond, in which this one is. Then the color of it is a fancy yellow. It's a magnificent fancy yellow diamond. Now, it's a canary diamond, so the color is a beautiful, very nicely saturated yellow. In fact, color-wise, it's a 9 out of 10. It's spectacular. And then the clarity of it is that it's internally flawless. This diamond has no flaws. So this is a diamond that, number one, will never decline in value, but number two, will climb in value tremendously over the years. The things that you should know about investing in rare colored diamonds, again, they never lose their value, and they can increase in value over time more than any other asset. I've mentioned on many shows some of the stories about certain diamonds that have gone up in value. You know, just a few months ago, Shirley Temple, was it, Randy?
That's right. Shirley Temple, her father in 1940 purchased a blue diamond for her, and it was $7,800. And obviously it went to auction, and it was sold privately after the auction. And we don't know the exact number, but I know that the estimate on it was around 20, 25, 30 million. So you can pretty much guarantee someone walked away with at least $20, $25 million from that estate.
Exactly. So again, in that case, you're talking about a diamond that was purchased back in the 40s. So you're talking about 60 years ago, 70 years ago, but you're also talking about an investment, a family investment, an investment that stayed within the family, that they paid under $10,000 for the diamond and sold it for over $20 million. So those are the type of returns that we're talking about. We're talking about investments in rare colored diamonds that the longer you hold them, the more and more and more they go up. In the case of pink diamonds, that's an unusual situation because 95% of the pink diamonds in the world come from one mine. It's in Australia. It's called the Argyle Mine. That mine is going to close down in 4 years or less, and I think that the price of pink diamonds will hit levels that most people could never dream possible, just like we just recently saw with blue diamonds, where they've gone up a ridiculous amount. Back in 2005 at auction, vivid blue diamonds were selling for $200,000 a carat. Now they're selling for $4 million a carat on very special diamonds. So again, these are the type of returns. But when you invest in diamonds, it's not a short-term situation. You don't buy it for a couple of years and then sell it. You're not going to make any money on it. The fact is that these type of assets should be held within the family. If you're going and held for retirement. So if you're going to hold a diamond for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, you're going to see a sizable return from that diamond, much, much better than you would ever get from your retirement savings plans, which are doing horrible. I put away diamonds for my grandchildren, and I have not put away a penny in stocks or bonds or anything like that for my kids. The only thing that I put away for them are diamonds, because over the next 20 years, when my grandkids get to be about the time when they're going to start in this world, I want them to have an asset that's worth something. You know, I could have put away General Motors stock for my grandkids, and it would have been worth nothing, or Chrysler, or these insurance companies, or the banks, but diamonds always hold their value, and they go up tremendously over time. And for those of you that may not need to cash in your diamond for retirement, then you hand them down to your children and grandchildren. And then they're talking about holding on to a diamond for 30, 40, 50 years. Well, let me just say that my wife's girlfriend inherited a 5-carat pink diamond from her grandmother. Her grandmother 50 years ago paid $50,000 for the diamond, and the diamond is worth over $5 million today. Those are the type of returns you can see from diamonds. Now, we've seen some huge moves in diamonds as of late. The auctions have gone tremendously well. Big blues and pinks, and there was a green diamond that sold recently for $3 million a carat. And where we've introduced yellows and pinks and blues and reds to our clients, the new trend in diamonds is in green and orange diamonds. And these diamonds will go up in value tremendously. We mine these diamonds from Central and South America. We cut and polish the diamonds, and these are the diamonds that we offer to our clients. And these are diamonds that over time can go up more than almost any other asset that you could possibly imagine. So in this crazy world that we're living in now, where banks can take your money and keep it to pay the debts of the bank, where you're going to keep your money in a bank and you're literally going to be charged a negative interest rate, you're actually going to have to pay to keep your money in a bank. On top of that, there's talk of a cashless society coming. Negative bond rates, where nobody in their right mind would invest in a negative bond if you're going to get a negative return. The only ones that are doing it are the governments. So the governments are buying up all their bad debt. It's an unbelievable time where we've got markets where gold went up 30% from the beginning of the year, where the currency markets were all over the place, where England and Britain have left the Eurozone and saw their currency drop by 25% in one day. There are so many things happening with ISIS and other situations in Europe where they're barely staying on their feet, where the United States is the only country in the world that has the wherewithal to raise interest rates where everybody else is cutting interest rates. What does a small investor do? Which way do you turn in order to make an informed and intelligent decision? Again, I've been in the investment business for over 35 years. Most people know of me because of calls that I've made in the gold and silver market, from $4 silver up to $50, from $250 gold all the way up to $1,900, from a currency in the U.S. dollar that dropped from the strongest currency in the world all the way down to 72 cents in 2011, and we call that market right in front of your very eyes. So again, I know the market. I know what's happening. I know what's coming our way. And we want to make certain that our Canadian clients who have had a rough go of it, let's face it, with what's happened with oil prices plummeting, with what's happened in Fort McMurray with oil prices plummeting and the fires and floods and everything else going on and these ridiculous real estate levels in Canada, we need to take a step back and understand what we need to do to move forward. And if anybody who listens to our radio show would like to retire one day, the way that things are going right now, if you stay in your present investments, you will never, ever do that. If you've got money in a retirement savings plan, forget about it. You'll never make any money on it. You haven't made money in a decade, and things are going worse now. Why would you make money in it? We need to get you into a position where you can start to live the life that you're supposed to live. We have private investment programs for our Canadian clients that pay in U.S. dollars and pay out over 25% a year. If you're interested in that and you're not doing that well, you need to give me a call because things are so confusing right now. And now with this new law that just came out, this new C-15 law that was just put into law this week in Canada, it's frightening. It means that the money that you have in the bank, over $100,000, the bank can take in case that they're insolvent. And they can keep your money and give you shares in a worthless bank in exchange for that. If that's what you want to do and that's the way that you want to, invest your money, then that's up to yourself. But that is not an option for anybody that I know, and we need to make some abrupt changes and make them very quickly before you find out that you'll never, ever be able to retire with the way that the government and the banks are leading you right now. We need to take you in a totally different direction.
Speak with Harold personally, privately, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, the website rarecoloreddiamonds.com. And our featured diamond of the week is a stunning 2.63 carat, round, brilliant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless ring. Harold went through all the amazing aspects of this diamond. And if you'd like to find out more, give him a call, 1-800-432-1022. And the thing about diamonds, it's the most secure and profitable investment. And it took millions of years in the making. Rare Colored Diamonds, the beauty of it, nature's art. It's private, portable, stable wealth. And if you have not taken a look at Harold's website, and it's one of the best websites on the internet for colored diamonds, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, go there. You'll see some of the world's finest investment diamonds, and it's like a museum online. It is absolutely stunning, all the diamonds you will see. And I will give Harold credit again, because in August of 2005, and I have it printed out, time-stamped, it was 11 years ago, Harold brought to our attention, via a report that we still have today, we can send to you, Naturally Fancy Colored Diamonds, the best kept secret. And they're no longer a secret, thanks to Harold Siegel, who brought them to our attention. And over the last 11 years, it's been astounding to see how people have adopted what Harold brought to our attention via the radio show, investing in diamonds because of the economic times we live in, and yet at the same time to see the capital appreciation that has been simply off the charts in some cases via not only the auctions, but when you have a mine like the Argyle mine shutting down. When the Argyle mine shuts down, you go to a secondary market and we don't know what the prices, where they'll go. One would suspect when 90 to 95% of the world's pink diamonds are gone, it could get very, very interesting. But we give Harold Siegel credit. It was 11 years ago this month. He started rarecoloreddiamonds.com, wrote his report, and to be along with you, Harold, for this ride, doing the radio show, and really at the beginning of this, knowing nothing about diamonds or even investing in diamonds, and then learning so much from you and through research, it has just been unbelievable. And when we had our seminar here in Edmonton a few years ago, it was so emotional because I was almost crying a lot of the time, and it may sound crazy, but there were so many people coming up to us and thanking us thank you for the radio show. Thank you for helping us get into this investment and for us to make money. There was a young woman there who was proudly showing off her diamond ring. It was a pink diamond that her boyfriend had gotten her. There was another lady, similar circumstances. And not only is it an investment, it's something that you can wear. It's wealth, and you can wear it. It can appreciate over time. It's an emotional thing, Harold, doing the show, because I know you get a lot of people calling you on a daily and weekly and monthly basis thanking you. And it was all those 11 years ago that you brought this to our attention, and how our worlds have changed. So I thank you so much. What an amazing investment this has turned out to be.
Well, thank you very, very much, Randy. I truly appreciate that. Again, it just made sense to me, and it's going to make more and more sense as currencies change. You know, currencies is one of the major reasons why we brought up diamonds, because they can be sold in other currencies. And with currencies changing as much as they are, I'm sure a lot of our Canadian clients right now are just thrilled to know that diamonds are priced in U.S. dollars. Many of my clients bought diamonds when the Canadian dollar was stronger than the U.S. dollar, or basically even. So not only have diamonds gone up in value, but on top of that, the currency has also. So that's why we brought it up. A lot of people in England and in Britain were buying diamonds prior to Brexit to get anything out of their currency, because it was such an abrupt change. A 25% drop in a currency in one day can devastate you. It can devastate the country, the stock market, everything about it. People lost 25% of their net worth in one day, those that did nothing to hedge their position. We had some clients that actually bought calls and puts, deep out of the money calls and puts, and made an awful lot of money. But it was, those are riskier type of trades. Right now, all we want to do is remain conservative. We certainly don't want to keep more than $100,000 in the bank. That's the first thing that you need to do. In actual fact, the first thing you need to do is call me on Monday so I can send you this article. It just happened this week. I want you to know about it. We need to discuss it. And by the way, if you think that I won't pick up the phone, you're 100% wrong. I speak to every single client that calls. If you want to call me and it's important for you to speak to me, just call my toll-free number, speak to my secretary, and I will definitely 100% call you back. So, again, this is not an ego thing in any way. I love my clients. Many have listened to the radio show since we've been on 16, 17 years now. And, again, the reason for this show is to give you the information you need to try to help you protect what you have. And that's probably the most important thing right now is asset protection, because everything is so volatile and so up in the air. And now a bill gets passed in Canada where the banks can steal your money. How in the world would the government pass a bill like that? They obviously don't care for us in any way, shape, or form in order to throw us to the wolves like that. What does just look at this. A businessman that runs a small business that needs to keep money in his account in order to pay bills and creditors and buy things and things like that. He keeps more than I keep more than $100,000. At times I have to keep several millions of dollars in the bank account. Now I'm petrified to do that. I literally take the money out of the bank every single night and put it into treasury bills, just because I'm petrified that overnight something is going to happen and I'm going to lose my money, and that would affect my business. So if you don't understand what's going on, if you're concerned about it, and you should be, please call me on Monday. I'll take every one of your calls. I'll spend as much time as you need to understand what we're talking about, and I'll make recommendations to you that may help you get further ahead than where you are right now.
1-800-432-1022. Connect with Harold. 1-800-432-1022. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. Our featured diamond of the week. A beautiful 2.63 carat round, brilliant cut, fancy yellow, internally flawless ring. See it online, RareColoredDiamonds.com. Now, Harold, he talked about, obviously, the gold market and how he correctly called the gold market back in about 2002, year 2000, 2002. We were around $250 when we started the radio program, and silver was around $3.80 and $3.80. And as Harold said, we rode gold all the way up to $1,900, silver to $50. There are some other calls that Harold made as well that were brilliant calls. I remember doing the radio show early on, and oil was around $18, $19, and Harold was saying it could go to 50. And then when it got to 50, we were projecting 100, and eventually it topped out. I think it was around 147, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And people did very well on that call. The other thing that people may remember is the euro. When the euro first started, the euro was trading about 87 cents to the U.S. dollar, and it eventually went to a point where it was around 160 to the U.S. dollar. And that was another recommendation Harold had made, and people did very well on. I think, and I remember this very well, for those that have the silver Libertad, one of the most beautiful silver coins I think I have ever seen in my life. That was Harold recommending that. And the Libertad, I know Harold still has one today at his home on show. Just absolutely gorgeous. The coins that were put out for the Pope John Paul II. And when he passed away, those coins were put in his coffin. Those were coins that we offered, and they were so beautiful and such a great investment piece. So over the years, Harold has definitely had some very, very strong winners for us, but probably he will be best known for in the annals of history, bringing to us rare colored diamonds. Go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, take a look around, connect with Harold, find out about the different programs he has in place. 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. And I know, Harold, that one of the things that you're very gratified from is when we do have seminars, people coming up to you and thanking you for the recommendations you've made and the money they have made. It's very, very gratifying. And as you've said for many, many years now, that's the reason that we do this radio show. It's for the little guy. It's not for the Bill Gates, $90 billion, or Warren Buffett. Sure, they're giving away their money to charity, but it's not for those people. It's for the average, everyday little person who is really struggling to get by and trying to get ahead and eventually be in a position where they can retire, and yet at the same time get through the bail-in legislation we see here in Canada. And it's something that Harold has provided us through the radio show for many years. We're very thankful for. And thank you, Harold, for doing the radio show for so many years and bringing forward your different recommendations, because I can tell you that people have been very gratified with the money that they've made. But we still believe, though, the best is yet to come. There still is money to be made in these very difficult markets, and people should talk to you, Harold, about the programs you have in place.
You bet, Randy. And again, thanks for all the nice words. It really means a lot to me. When we talk about the small investor, again, we're not the Warren Buffetts of the world, but there are opportunities to do well as long as we keep our head about ourselves and don't make foolish mistakes and speculate. Because speculation, 90% of the people that trade the commodity and stock markets lose their money. So why in the world would you want to trade in a market like that where the chances are 90% that you're going to lose? We go into alternative investments, investments that make a lot of sense to us, investments that are private, that are outside of the stock market and the bond markets and the real estate markets. We're in investments that have been, within my company for 4 generations now. So they're established businesses that we've grown using our Canadian clients' funds and help. And basically, it's turned out to be a phenomenal partnership where we're all doing extremely well. And there's certainly room for other Canadian clients to come in, too. So, again, please give me a call on Monday, number 1. I'll send you all the information on that new bail-in law, the C-15 law that was voted in this week in Canada. It's downright horrible to think that we are so stupid, that they think that we're so stupid, that we're going to keep our money in a bank where the bank now has put into law that they can take our money to help the bank pay their debts and give us worthless shares in these godforsaken banks.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel.
It's my pleasure, Randy. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. That's it, another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.